over now to more advanced chart types in Sheet. The gauge chart, sometimes called the speedometer chart owing to the fact that it looks like one, allows you to compare or assess the performance of a single or multiple values. It's commonly used in executive dashboards and/or reports to assess performance by measuring the percentage or volume of a target that has been achieved at a point. When creating a gauge chart, your data should be in two columns. The first column should be a string. This will serve as the gauge label. The second column should be a number. This will be the gauge value. Let's create a gauge chart. In this example, we are going to show the performance of a student in mathematics for 3 years. To do this, we select the cell range containing the data for the chart and click on Chart from the Insert menu. A chart is inserted with some default settings, and the chart editor pane appears on the right. Since the chart inserted is not a gauge, we click on Chart Type and choose Gauge Chart from the drop-down list under Other. We then go to the Chart Editor's Customize tab and set the gauge range from 0 to 1. This means the minimum value is 0 and the maximum value is 1. This will correct the gauge chart axis value error due to the percentage value used. You can add some color to gauge charts to give a visual indication of performance. This will allow you to tell your progress at a glance. To do this, double-click the chart to bring up the Edit pane on the right. Select the Customize tab and expand the Gauge option. Set the minimum and maximum values for the 3 colors. By default, the colors are red, orange, and green. You can, however, change these colors if you wish. It is good practice to set the maximum value of the previous range as the minimum value of the next. In this example, we set the color red up to 50% of value, 50% to 80% for the orange color, and 80% and above as green. There's a 3D version of the pie chart in Sheet. To use that rather than the 2D version, select your data, including the column labels. Go to Insert on the menu bar and select Chart. The default chart that will be inserted will probably not be a 3D pie chart. So open the Chart Editor pane by double-clicking the chart. On the Setup tab, change the chart type to a 3D pie chart. This can be found under the pie group. Waterfall charts are used to show how values add or subtract from a starting value. For example, showing the monthly net cash flow or quarterly budget changes. We'll create a waterfall chart from the table shown here. To create the waterfall chart, we first select the cell range containing the data for the chart, making sure to select the column names too. Next, we click on Chart from the Insert menu to create a chart. A default chart will be inserted based on the type of data, and in this case, Sheets correctly identified that a waterfall chart was the most appropriate chart. But if it doesn't, click on Chart Type and choose Waterfall Chart from the drop-down list under the Other group in the chart editor. Trendlines can help you identify patterns in your data. In Google Sheets, you can add trend lines to your charts to help you better visualize your data and better analyze it. Trend lines are often useful for financial or scientific data. Data labels, as the name implies, give labels to your data, specifically the parts of your chart that represent your data points, such as the slices of a pie chart, the columns of a column chart, data points on a line chart, among others. By default, data labels are not shown, but you can choose to show them. You can add trend lines and data labels to scatter plot, line, column, and bar charts. In this demo, we will be adding a trend line and data labels to a column chart. To add a trend line and data labels, select the chart and click the 3 dots in the top right corner to show more options. Select Edit Chart. Alternatively, you can double-click the chart to open the Edit pane. Click the Customize tab, then the Series section, and scroll to the bottom. The trend line and data labels are set to none by default. Click the check boxes next to trend line and data label respectively. Choose the type of trend line and other customizations that best fit your data. For data that closely follows a straight line, select linear. For a curved line that's best for data that rises and falls proportional to its current value, select exponential. Line charts are usually appropriate for time series data. Let's go ahead and make a line chart from the data shown. After entering your data in Sheet, select your data, including the headings. On the menu bar, click on Insert and select Chart. If it does not select a line chart for you by default, go ahead and select it from the chart editor. A Gantt chart is a simple instrument to create task sequences and track deadlines in project management. The Gantt chart clearly shows the time schedule and current state of a project. This type of chart will be very useful if you are working with your colleagues on a certain project which is divided into stages. On a new spreadsheet, you need to enter the task names, start and finish dates, and the duration, which is the actual amount of days to complete each task, in order to make a Gantt chart. In this type of chart, the titles, start and end date, and duration of tasks are transformed into waterfall bar charts. The tasks would be listed in the order of occurrence, and the date format should be as follows. We'll break down the process for creating a Gantt chart into 4 steps. In the first step, we'll add the tasks, duration in days, and dates of each task. The important information for a Gantt chart is the list of tasks, their start date, duration in days, and their end date. We will calculate the end date by adding the start date and days and subtract 1. We will have task 2 start 1 day after task 1 ends. We will then fill the rest of the fields to get the data we would like to work with. Note, you are able to add dates because they are actually stored as numbers but displayed in a different format. In step 2, we'll be adding a timeline or date range for the tasks. We will start from the 1st of April 2021 and drag it 6 more cells to the right to create a week. We want to display just the days of the month, so we will change the date format to custom date format D. It is important to realize that the cells are storing the full date but only displaying the days of the month. Now, let's display the first letter of the days of the week below the cells of the day. First, we will use the text function to display the abbreviation of the day of the week. Then, use the left function to grab the first letter of that text. Next, we'll add the bars. We can add bars by filling in the chart manually, but that will be time consuming. So instead, we'll use conditional formatting to fill in the bars if the dates are within the start and end date. First, select all the date range cells. Then, go to Format and select Conditional Formatting. Under Format Cells If, select Custom Formula S from the drop-down menu. Now, we are ready to create our formula. It is important to create the formula based on the upper left cell in the range. We'll use the logical function AND to create the formula, and we'll need to make the formula for the rows in the date references absolute. Lastly, we'll add the progress column. We'll insert 2 new columns at the right of the tasks column. The first column will show the progress in percentages, and the other column will be the progress bar. We will use the sparkline function to create the progress bars. We will have it reference the cell with the percentage. The chart type will be bar, and the color for the bar will be gray. The maximum value will be set to 1, so that 100% shows a full bar.